Main event Mania, and rumor has it Niners looking to trade for Jeremy Chin, and I'm all in on Jeremy Chin. Welcome to Gary Lamm Main Event Mania live action on a 49er Friday. Once again, Gary Lamm here, wishing you a great Friday in the wild backyard. Panda barking at neighbors, but I'm talking 49er Friday. Jeremy Chin, I'm all in on Jeremy Chin. But first of all, I want to talk about the national media talking about local teams. 9 times out of 10, they don't know what they're talking about. You hear even someone like a Peter King talking about Brock Purdy. Yeah, he was impressed. But he said Brock Purdy, he's not a quarterback who can scramble. If anything, that's what he does best. The guy has a quick first step. And what he's really improved upon, especially these last 3 games, is moving up in the pocket, not having to spin and turn around and put himself in jeopardy. Look, there's just going to be some people who are going to be biased about where you're from, what their first impression is of you, even if it's not true. So my point is, when I want to know about a player or something, I trust someone local, unless you're a Brian Baldinger or a Kurt Warner or a JT Sullivan breaking down film. I don't really got to hear what you had to say. So believe the people whose heart is in a team. If you're a new person watching sports, if you're jumping on the Niner bandwagon, believe what your own eyes tell you. And if you want some more insight, unless someone's breaking down film or a player like a Steve Smith, who started out as a low round pick, earned his way up, who's tough enough to say what he wants to say because no one can mess with him. No, listen to the local teams or the local media or the local fans. Like when I want to know about the Cleveland Browns, hey, guess what? I'm not watching the Cleveland Browns. They ain't been good for a long time. All right, I want to look to the people like me who are in Cleveland or wherever, the whole wide world. You know who's breaking your hearts. You know who's not coming through. You know the nickel corner. Yeah, they know where to be, but when they get beat deep. Isaiah Oliver just gets beat too much. 49er Friday. Speaking of Isaiah Oliver, there's some word out there that Jeremy Chin, listed as safety for the Carolina Panthers, might be available on the trading blocks. And this is the kind of player who would be perfect for the 49ers because I see him as the Jimmy Ward replacement, even more than a Patrick Surtain. Where, hey, if you bring in Surtain, you may have to give up a number 1, and you're going to have to, put Demo Lenore in the nickel. Demo Lenore, he's the kind of guy you want on the Niners. He is the prototype 49er. In there, tough, fighting, battling. If you lose, he went down a blaze of glory. Even if you got Surtain, like I said, if you get Surtain, hey, the best way to improve your cover defense is to cover people. All right, I'm tired of the days of Devontae Adams and AJ Brown destroying us and Tyreek Hill going deep. Forget all that. You got to get cover corners. And I think the 49ers have a couple of tough corners. I think Mooney Ward is even better than he showed. He's had a heel injury all year. Demo, underrated. He's the perfect kind of guy I'm talking about. So if you got a Surtain, he's going to have to start. Surtain is that kind of guy. But boy, if you get this Jeremy Chin from the Carolina Panthers, gives you all, he's a perfect 49er. He could play nickelback like a Jimmy Ward. He could play some linebacker. He's 6'3", 220. He can guard tight ends. If he can guard He can get in safety. Hey, what happened? What happens if Gibson has to lose a game? Are you going to rely on a rookie? There's no one who you don't want in a game like a rookie safety. I like Jair Brown. He's a great draft pick. Whatever. But Taj Gibson's not going to be here forever. And even if him and Ofunga play every game, it's nice to have another guy back there. You got this guy, Jeremy Chin, is exactly what the 49ers are looking for as far as he can play safety when you need him. He can play even some linebacker, 6'3", 220. But he has that mentality, that roughneck 49er mentality that's throughout this whole team, offense and defense. You're never questioning, can this guy does he care? Did he ever quit? No. He's getting in there. You can blitz him. You can have him play nickel corner. You can have him play linebacker. That's what a nickel corner is. It's like an extension of the nickel corner really literally is a linebacker, safety, cornerback in today's NFL. If you get this guy, this Chin guy, look, nobody's perfect, but this guy fits in with the Niners because he's another guy who's going to get up in there and fight and be tough. So I'm banging the invisible table. Since he's available, a lot of people are being made available from the Carolina Panthers. Get Jeremy Chin. He already knows the defense because he played for Steve Wilks just last year. This is manna from heaven. John Lynch, eat the manna. Taste it. Soak it in. And let's go for the win. I don't think he costs you much. The word is the Eagles are looking at him to replace Chauncey Gardner. So, hey, let's they're talking about 4th and a 6th. I don't love giving up a 3rd because that's where the Niners make their hay, 3rd and 4th round. But I'll do it because, in today's NFL, you got to cover the top coordinators like Andy Reid are going to be able to set up their guys on your worst player. And that's what you don't want. And then you got another tough player. It makes Isaiah Oliver that much better because he's, farther down the pecking order. And we're looking at a tough Super Bowl team with not a lot of holes. All right. It's a little bit of Brock Purdy in Cleveland. I'm looking forward to this. The weather, there's mixed reports. It's going to be supposed to be really rainy on Saturday, maybe a wet field. But I want to see, Brock Purdy play with a wet ball. I want to see a little adversity because we're eventually going to play Seattle. We're going to go to Philadelphia. We want that number 1 seed, and Philly hasn't looked great, but they're still undefeated. They haven't even hit their stride. I don't want to play that game in Philadelphia. I don't want any shenanigans. I don't want, Philly fans. You see how they are with the Phillies over there. They're just going crazy. I don't want anyone, food poisoning, CMC. I don't need Philadelphia in my life in December and January. I want that game at Levi's in the cozy comforts of Levi's Stadium. So, I know Cleveland's pretty depleted offensively. Nick Chubb's gone. It's sad to say, Deshaun Watson's going to be out. Look, they have Walker, a journeyman, another guy who played a little bit on the Panthers. This is like Steve Wilks. Well, he's been worth his weight in gold. We'll talk about him a little more. But the point is this. I want to see Brock Purdy. To me, he's passed every test. Despite what some of the national media says, he's passed every test. He just has to win. This is a very special thing we're experiencing. 23 years old. And he's playing in honor of that 49er gold, baby. This quote really bothered me by Peter King. Of all the things that bothered me, you got Peter King saying he's not a mobile quarterback. He is. And I think the airplane. I want Brock to fly high. I think Peter King and Shannon Sharp are flying high right now because Shannon Sharp also said that Brock's just a system quarterback. Shannon Sharp, Hall of Famer, respect for him. But that's what I'm saying. This national media, they're not watching the game. Kyle Shanahan totally rebuked that coach of the 49ers. Said, no, this guy can play. Think about this. A 23-year-old who's never, I'm talking about Brock Purdy, who's never had an offseason. A 23-year-old kid who's never had an offseason showed improve after getting his elbow blown up, knowing the offense, throwing people open, getting the ball over this guy, under that guy at 6'1". If you're going to morph this guy into a human being, if you don't, I would say he's Drew Brees and morph the Russell Wilson. If you morph those two, he has the anticipation of Drew Brees. He has that initial burst of Russell Wilson around the pocket. But now he's really, instead of going, he used to go back and spin around, and it worked a lot, especially left. He would get, I would worry he's going to get knocked the heck out. You're going to spin into the wrong dude. You spin into Myles Garrett, it'll be a short season. That's another thing. You got Devarius Smith, what's his name, on the other side too. He's tough on us, even when we play with the Packers in the playoffs. So anyway, the media, the national media, they're not looking at the games like we are. They're not looking at what Brock does. They're not looking at how he throws guys open, how he gets the ball, how he stays cool under pressure with a rush in his face. He takes hits. People don't look at him. This is a tough dude. The first game he played, he had a busted up ribs. The Dolphins just broke the house, sent the house. He had busted up ribs. Brock was playing with injured ribs the first 8 weeks of his career. Then he messed up his elbow. And now he's playing without an offseason, even better, improving. If there was one thing about Brock, I thought, he was relying on that. Brock has what he has exceptional as far as physicality. He has strong legs and quick bursts. He can get out of there quick. He's not going to outrun Micah Parsons. That's what I was scared of against the Cowboys, but he doesn't need to. He steps up in the pocket now, and he's looking great. He hasn't had a rushing yard in 3 weeks. He hasn't. And the other thing, and so forget what Peter King says. That just tells me someone I respect doesn't know what they're talking about. And as far as Shannon Sharp, Brock does have an excellent physical trait, and he also has world-class anticipation. And you can see the very first preseason game against the Vikings, Brock threw a receiver open. It was a year ago. A back shoulder toss in the end zone that told me this guy knew what he had to do in the red zone. He managed the clock. His arm is just not all that. Okay, he got a freaking noodle arm, but it's not all about power. It's about touch. And again, Shannon Sharp to you, and all the jabronis I won't even name who are just hating on this guy. Okay, you don't have to like him. You don't have to put him in the Hall of Fame. Is he Patrick Mahomes? Not yet. But Brock has tremendous touch. He has tremendous touch. And look at 23. At 23, you're not. There's an airplane coming over my head. So catch it. If I can catch the airplane here. Yeah. Where are you, airplane? Out there? Oh. Didn't get it. I missed. Here we go. I missed the plane. The bogey got away. But if Brock has an elite, or he doesn't have an elite arm, but remember, he's only 23. You don't get your grown man strength until about 25. Think about Tom Brady. Didn't have a super elite arm, but now he has a great arm. Brock's mechanics have improved. They've improved without even an offseason. That's ridiculous. 0 offseason. Improvement knowing the offense. Improvement with arm strength. Evidenced by how many 3rd and longs And I was worried about this because that's why I was like, hey, Trey Lance has that arm. You could just, hey, just boom. 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. You could just boom. Well, Brock has that too, but Brock uses a different method. He can't just fire it. He can't be Dan Marino, fire it to two defensive backs and right in the middle, right? But what Brock can do, he knows he makes sure the receiver and him, they're on the same page. The receiver's going to be going here. Oh, they're going to be there. He goes there. The receiver's going to be here before the receiver breaks. He throws, boom. And that's why some of the throws look a little bit off because if the receiver slips or what have you, but you never hear the receivers complain because Brock is seeing the future. Brock Purdy is a prophet. He sees the future. He plays with anticipation. He plays with touch. And when he makes a mistake, he does not repeat his mistakes. For a 23-year-old, this is fantastic. And his arm is never going to be, Dan Marino or John Elway, but his arm will get stronger. His mechanics will get better. His footwork will get better as he knows the offense, as he has experience in the 49ers offense with the receivers. He didn't have a mini camp. He didn't have full reps in training camp because he had to take every 3 days off. He had to take a rest. So now he's getting it down with his receivers. He's getting the timing down with the receivers. He's just going to get better. Brock is just going to get better. And here's another thing that Brock has that's elite. I keep on hearing this. Well, Brock wouldn't be as good with another team. Maybe not. But here's what Brock has. And I'm going to ask you this question. Brock has all kinds of weapons. Let me ask you a question. Of the skill players, Trent Williams is a Hall of Fame, but I'm talking about the skill players. Is there anyone a for sure Hall of Famer? Debo? No. I love Debo. No. Ayuk? Maybe he's just getting started. Kittle? He could be there, but it's hard for tight ends to get there. But there's so many games where Kittle's just invisible. And I love Kittle. He's a good player. These are good players on the 49ers. I don't care about the Hall of Fame. I know they're good. They're a good fit to the system. They are a good fit to the system. They play well together. That's what matters. CMC, maybe. It's going to be rough because he's a little bit older. He hasn't played his whole career on the 49ers. CMC's in his prime. But I'm saying, at running back, you have so many years to go. And when you're leading with you have so many touches already this year. I mean, how long can you go? Maybe CMC. But I don't see Hall of Fame receivers yet. And if they are Hall of Fame receivers, if Ayuk gets to that level like I think he could be, it's because of Brock Purdy, because it sure as hell wasn't from Jimmy Garoppolo and all the other jabronis who couldn't get the job done, couldn't get cut the mustard. I'm not bagging on Jimmy because riddle me this, fucking Shannon Sharp. If anyone could be in Brock's system, we had a lot of people. How come every time Jimmy Garoppolo went down, we were made the clown? We were crying tears of the clown every time Jimmy Garoppolo went down. How come we didn't get it done then? All right, and that's why so many people love Jimmy, because he did get it done a lot. But at 23 years old, Brock does not turn the ball over, and he makes plays. Do you think Patrick Mahomes would be where he is without Tyreek Hill? Where was Buffalo before Diggs? Huh? Where was the Buffalo quarterback before Diggs came on the team? You need the weapons. And here's the other thing about weapons. Weapons complain. Not anyone could have came here. Weapons complain. Who's going to come here and what 23-year-old come here, last pick in the draft, and from what I hear, he was treated like the last pick in the draft when he first showed up until he showed out on the field. What's up? What's up, Dragonoid? How you doing, man? The last pick in the draft, he was treated like that. You know how he earned his respect? The players. You never hear the players complain. When Trey Lance went down last year in Seattle, the Niners were kind of happy because, oh, Jimmy's back. And you know what? Jimmy did bring him back. But when Jimmy went down, this team believed in Brock Purdy. That tells you everything you need to know. Brandon Ayuk, he worked with Trey Lance in the off seasons. George Kittle, best friends with Jimmy Garoppolo. But look at when the 49ers were drafting a rookie quarterback, Trey Lance, and that's when Debo was like, hey, man, I don't know if this is going to work out. I want to get paid. It's hard to keep stars happy. But this Brock kid has got them all happy. 23 years old. No offseason to work with his teammates. Can't even throw a ball because your elbow blew up. Making all the throws. Tremendous on 3rd and long this year. Stepping up in the pocket. Can move. It's not a he doesn't have a fastball, but that guy's got everything else. He's got touch over and under. He's got anticipation. He throws like Drew Brees, got a first step like Russell Wilson. He's got heart like Steph Curry. Don't believe the hype, the national media, unless you're talking about Brian Baldinger, people who watch tape, Kurt Warner, Steve Young, who watch tape, people who have actually been lower round picks and had to make something of themselves. Because people want to judge you by your cover. They will want to keep you where you were, and they don't want to see you come up. Especially a bunch of clowns who ain't nothing, who ain't nothing in the first place. You know who says that? Fakers. People who fake it to make it. They don't know what's inside a person. They don't know what it takes to get to the top. All right. Dragonoid wants to get on with a prediction for tomorrow night. I want to make this point, a couple of points, Dragonoid. Give me 5 minutes, and I'm going to try to get you on. So I tried yet another way to work this tech. I don't know. I think the Instagram doesn't like my external mic, but I like the way I sound with the external mic because I look good. I want to sound good. I want it all. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So give me 5 minutes. I'm going to get you on with your prediction because I can't wait to have you. I want to talk because it's all about the people, man. Gary Lamm and Event Mini is about the people. But I got something on my mind. I got to let it off. Thanks, Dragonoid. All right. Brock Purdy, leadership, keeps his players happy. Tremendous arm talent when it comes to touch and anticipation. And you never see guys dropping balls anymore. Now used to drop balls left and right from Garoppolo and Trey Lance. That tells me the focus. That tells me that they're going to go to Cleveland. They're going to try to get their 30. What scares me is Colton McKivitz on Devarius Smith. On the Packers, he gave us a hard time. This guy's a tough. Myles Garrett and Devarius Smith. What's the name? I'm bad with names because my brain is out of sight. I feel like I got hit by Mike Tyson one day, and that's it. That everything went empty. But that pass rush, McKivitz on whoever is going to be tough. So watch for McKivitz to play really well. I want two things I want from this game. I want the Niners to go for that 30, and I want McCaffrey and Brock Purdy to be resting out of the game, not because they got knocked out, because they balled out and they're chilling. But if you're a jealous team and you're Myles Garrett, and I don't think he's a dirty player, or you're Devarius Smith, you want to make your name for yourself by knocking out Brock Purdy. But guess what? Brock Purdy's already been knocked out. A setback was a setup for his comeback. He should be comeback player of the year on top of MVP, but they're not aren't going to get any awards because people are hating on him already. But the only thing that scares me is maybe Garrett or Smith. Get a big pass rush or one of their defense gets us, and maybe a wet ball. They got Denzel Ward out there. Maybe a wet ball causes Brock Purdy to have it's a funny grip, and he had that in Seattle in the playoffs where he had some tough throws. But I want to see some experience, but I also want to see 30. All right, I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna try to get you on, Dragonoid. Hey, can you send me another request if you're still there? I want to hear your prediction. I want to hear your predictions, Dragonoid. All right, if you're still there, I'm gonna try to get Dragonoid on. We're gonna find out. Here. All right. Whoa. He's still there. Wait. All right. Dragonoid's left the chat. And that's all I got to say about that. All right, friends. Gary Lamm, Main Event Mania. I want to talk a little Giants. Dragonoid had a prediction. I have a prediction, and I it's more of a fear. The San Francisco Giants are looking for a manager, and they're hiring. They're doing internal interviews. And I said, well, is it going to be Kai Correa? And if this, aside from Buster Posey, if the Giants, San Francisco Giants, hire anyone internally, aside from Buster Posey, I highly doubt, I will find it highly unlikely that the San Francisco Giants are going in the right direction. All right, and with that, Gary Lamm, Main Event Mania, wishing you many blessings. God bless you. Trust Jesus. Keep it real. Keep it clean. Dragonoid!